hello, Dr. Reed Timmer. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to the WJBF weather team today. My name is Jenna, and I'm the chief meteorologist here, and I wanted to have as many people from the team as possible to talk to you. It's just such an honor, and we will do the official introductions in just a moment. But I wanted to start out by introducing you. You have your PhD in meteorology from the University of Oklahoma. You're an extreme meteorologist, an inventor, and a storm chaser, and your career is definitely a big inspiration to all of us here. So just thank you so much. And I also have to say that you made my day when you followed me back on Twitter about 7 years ago when I was in college, and you made my day again by agreeing to do this interview.
Well, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get into it with some questions. Once again, my name is Jenna. I've been here for 5 years now, graduated with my meteorology degree at the University of South Alabama. I've been here in Augusta ever since. We got John over here.
Meteorologist John Lynn, Mississippi State University. Been here for a good 25 years, and I'm super excited to have you on with us today. Big deal,
Thanks.
big deal. I can't wait to talk about the Dominator. We'll talk SEC football. Since you're an Oklahoma grad, we'll get into all that stuff later.
Okay. Boomer Sooner.
Miller.
I'm meteorologist Miller Hyatt, also graduate of Mississippi State University. Been here for about 2.5 years, and it's an honor to talk to you today.
It's an honor to talk to you.
Well, hello, my name's Avery Gray. I am also another Mississippi State University graduate. I'm a meteorologist here. I just graduated in May. I graduated on the 15th, and I showed up to work on the 17th.
So did.
Nice. You probably know my friend Dr. Andrew Mercer.
I do. I have many classes with Dr. Mercer.
Same here. He was my professor.
Yeah.
Yes, he's
We
awesome.
used to storm chase together back at OU. I ripped his door off by accident one time.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so I'm the odd one out here, being from South Alabama,
You're
but
fine.
that's okay.
You're fine. You're doing a great job, by the way.
All right, so
doing-
getting started with the important questions. Your tour, Dominate the Storm. You are coming to Augusta very soon, and you're going all across Dixie Alley and Tornado Alley. So tell us what people can expect when they come to your show, and will they get to see the Dominator 3, or is that a surprise?
Yes, we are bringing the Dominator 3 to Augusta,
Good.
and the event's going to be on September 27 at 7:30. Doors open at 6:30. We're going to be launching rockets in the parking lot, flying our FPV drone around, and sharing the data that we collected inside all the tornadoes in 2025. It was a crazy tornado season from the Great Plains to Dixie Alley. Started off really active in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And we intercepted a tornado with our rocket just to the west of Huntsville with the Dominator 3. And that's our tank-like vehicle that has spikes that drill into the ground.
Yes.
It has rockets that launch from the roof. And we'll be taking it out there on September 27.
Wow, that's going to be so exciting to get to see that.
That is cool. Also, September 27th, the anniversary of Hurricane Helene for us. Is that something that you planned on being down here around that time, or did it just happen?
It was just coincidence, to be honest, but it is on the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene, and I know that was probably the worst storm to ever impact the Savannah River Valley down there in Augusta, and I was chasing Helene when it came ashore down south of Perry, Florida. I worked a lot during the disaster relief all the way up into western North Carolina. We do a lot of work recovering after the storm, so definitely one of the worst I've ever seen. It was like a Hurricane Katrina and complex terrain. With all the flooding and the tornadoes in the outer bands and the Category 4 hurricane making landfall. And we'll definitely talk a lot about Hurricane Helene coming up on September 27.
All right, also, let's talk about the Dominator. This is the huge armored car with spikes and everything like that. Has Hot Wheels ever come to you and say, we want to make one of those? And also, tell us a little bit more about the Dominator.
We haven't heard from Hot Wheels yet, but there's a lot of kids that make Lego versions of the Dominator.
Very
3.
nice.
See a lot of those on TikTok and everything too. I'm actually on the hood of the Dominator 4, so I've got all these hail dents and everything here. But the Dominator 3 we actually destroyed up in the Dakotas intercepting tornadoes. We were about to intercept a tornado in Gary, South Dakota, and the ghost train or the rear inflow jet was so strong that I had the brakes jammed on the Dominator and it was sucking it into the tornado, bent the mirrors out, the hood was about to come off, and then we hit a deer on the way home and it caved in the front end. But the good news is that it's been rebuilt over the last month, so we're going to have it ready to go out in Augusta We'll be in not in tornado intercept mode, but we'll be ready to launch rockets and show you the Dominator 3. And we've been driving all over creation, the Great Plains, Dixie Island. We spent a lot of time in the Northern Plains this year, which were extremely active. And we do a lot of search and rescue as well. We were on a big barrel tornado in Spiritwood, North Dakota. We were streaming it live, and there was a farmhouse right in the path of it, and they were actually watching the live stream. The tornado grew in size and started coming toward their farmhouse. So they ran into the basement, and the whole family was barricaded up against the door. The house was shredded, and we arrived at the farmhouse to do search and rescue and pulled them out of the basement. And they were totally fine, didn't have a scratch, but their house was completely leveled. And they told us a story about how the whole family had to hold the door shut with debris coming underneath it, and just kind of a terrible moment up there in the Northern Plains.
Hi, Dr. Timmer. Can you talk to us about intercepting the eye wall of Hurricane Helene?
Yeah, the eye wall of Hurricane Helene, we intercepted it just to the south of Perry, Florida. And of course, I was trying to get to the coast because I like to intercept the storm surge on the dirty side of the storm, that right eye wall where it makes the 90-degree angle with the coastline, but couldn't quite get a dependable structure right on the coastline. So I wrote it out in my Subaru just to the south of Perry, Florida. And the winds were probably about 110 miles an hour. The friction really slows down the wind after those make a landfall, but then you have to worry about the tornado-like whirls that are in the eye wall and in the outer bands. I think there are a lot of tornadoes in those eye walls because it's basically just stacked together supercells in a donut shape with strong wind shear. And I have a friend that actually saw a cone tornado inside of the eye wall of Hurricane Irma down in the Florida Keys. So I think that there's a lot of tornadoes that happen in all the different concentric bands of those hurricanes. But I should have been in Western North Carolina or even down in Augusta working the flood disaster, because I have been training for like 10 years in the mountains of Western North Carolina with my mountain bike, mapping out all the washes, all the flood zones up there. And so I was prepared to cover that storm in Western North Carolina, but I couldn't get back up there because of all the debris along its path, including right through Augusta.
And which do you prefer intercepting, tornadoes or hurricanes?
I prefer tornadoes, definitely. I've probably intercepted like 70 hurricanes, and they're a larger storm. So when you're on the ground, it's difficult to comprehend the curvature of the storm. They're slower moving. And nowadays, a lot of times when you're chasing a hurricane, every news station is out there, storm chasers, emergency managers, everybody's fighting with each other. You got criminals out there jacking cars and stuff. So chasing hurricanes is a little bit more of a chaos experience, I would say, with a larger storm. Tornadoes are a much smaller storm, more compact. You can comprehend the curvature of the flow. So I do think that I more enjoy the smaller scale weather, like supercells, tornadoes, flash floods, which I'm out here chasing now in the desert. I like to work those debris flows off the wildfire burn scars out here after tornado season. But I'm also going to be continue to chase hurricanes as well, and probably want to expand worldwide when I become a senior citizen, I think.
Very nice. Very nice.
Awesome. Well, going back to Hurricane Helene, as you know, it was really bad here in Augusta. I mean, it was a once in a lifetime storm for a lot of folks here, and we're still recovering from it nearly a year later. So I think the WJBF weather team did a great job of that whole week leading up to the storm, emphasizing that we were going to be on the dirty side of it and things were going to get rough. But I can honestly say we were not anticipating 100 plus mile per hour wind gusts and just the wide extent of damage that we saw. So it left a lot of people feeling just so in shock and feeling like they weren't prepared and just really just couldn't believe that something like this could happen so far inland. And of course, there was a lot of talk about it going towards Atlanta, and then it ended up shifting further towards the east. So I just wanted to hear your overall take on the storm, the track it took, and why it did that wobble towards the east, putting Augusta in the worst spot possible.
Well, it definitely was a unique setup because you had the Fujiwara interaction with that compact upper level low that was just upstream. And that same upper level low led to a predecessor rain event. So you had several inches of rain that fell in the days leading up with that tropical moisture plume. And I saw that once happen back with Hurricane Joaquin in South Carolina when you had that big flood in Columbia. Didn't quite go, a mega disaster like Hurricane Helene did, but it was that Fujiwara interaction. You had the upper level low off to the west. You had Hurricane Helene, a low pressure center as well. And those are duking it out, going back and forth. Helene wasn't sure if it wanted to gravitate closer to the upper level low or vice versa. And it all was dependent on the mass of the two systems. The models have difficulty handling that a little bit, but you basically had that push-pull action with the upper level low just upstream. But that same upper level low held it like a magnet and drove Hurricane Helene right up the spine of the Appalachians, which is a pretty rare path. Usually they like to take the path of least resistance going east or west of the Appalachians, but that upper level low definitely played a crucial role in the path of Hurricane Helene. And I think sometimes those tropical systems, you get those little vortices form because it's such a strongly sheared environment, and that can increase those peak winds by 15 to 20% or even more sometimes. And those are the ones that everybody hears about, those big winds that pop up above 100 miles an hour and cause a lot of damage. And the dirty side of the storm are where a lot of those mesovortices are embedded within the rain bands. But I know that you did a great job with forecasting that event, and it's just difficult. The forecast models have difficulty handling those setups that you rarely see in nature.
Yeah, it was very difficult to say the least. So thank you for that. That was a really great explanation.
Well, Reed, you've already briefly mentioned about your relief efforts that you used with Hurricane Helene. It's something that I'm super passionate about as well. And so if you would just kind of tell me more about exactly what that looked like for you in the process that you have whenever you go through these big catastrophic events and providing aid and relief.
Yeah, it's very important as a storm chaser. I've been chasing for like 30 years now, and it's very important to give back after the storm. You can't just chase the tornado or hurricane, shoot video, and go back home. But the recovery effort will last weeks, months, years. In the case of Hurricane Helene, that recovery effort just continues to roll. And we help out after the storm with tornadoes. The second we see a damaged path, we drop everything and shift into search and rescue mode. We have the Team Dominator Search and Recovery Group that follows behind us. We work with the United Cajun Navy as well. And during Hurricane Helene, I worked with them a lot up in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, and we were delivering supplies up there, Starlink units. They still have a team on the ground up there, and they've been delivering RVs to the region as well. But just playing a very small role in those recovery efforts is very important. And Hurricane Helene is the worst I've ever seen. And I chased Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit, except in that complex terrain of the southern Appalachians with just a logistical nightmare up there. And it was just a very difficult disaster recovery effort that continues up in from your area all the way up into the Western Carolinas.
Right. Well, we all appreciate everything that you do with your relief and your aid efforts. It's a very honorable and noble character of you. But switching gears a little bit, I wanted to talk about the movie Twisters. It came out about, this time a year ago, and there is a character on the movie that is speculated to have influence from you. What exactly does that mean to you, and how did that come about? Did you actually have any interaction with the Twisters creative team? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, I storm chased with the writer Mark L. Smith a year or two before Twisters came out. We spent some time in Tornado Alley, and I shared with him everything, the backstory, the Dominators, the spikes, the rockets that we shoot into the tornadoes, and kind of some of the competitiveness that happens in the science operation out there between the funded science groups and self-funded science groups. So I definitely worked a lot with the writer, Mark L. Smith, and I think it might have inspired a little bit of Tyler Owens. He's a much better looking guy than me, but I had a lot of fun working with him.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So I meet a lot of kids when I'm doing school visits and studio tours that love meteorology, but specifically storm chasing. So many kids nowadays that I've met want to become storm chasers, and I think Hurricane Helene here in Augusta definitely plays a big role in that as well. I think it's sparked a big interest in meteorology. But what would your advice be to all these aspiring storm chasers and meteorologists?
Well, my advice is to never stop chasing, and that doesn't only mean storms, but if you're passionate about meteorology or storms or the sciences in general, or passionate about anything, the key is to chase that passion relentlessly, and it's very easy to work hard on something that you love. And so if you love storm chasing, if you love severe weather, just get to work, keep learning. There's all kinds of resources online now, And I would definitely recommend studying meteorology at a university, which would give you the background necessary to really dominate in storm chasing. And you can really lean into the sciences there. But definitely go with somebody that knows what they're doing first and learn the basics of storm structure. But it definitely seems like the next generation that's up and coming knows more about meteorology before they go to college.
Yes.
A lot of times those that graduate with it. So I think that I would just continue to lean into your passion, continue to use all the latest technologies, learn how to program and learn how to chase, and use your eyes out in the field. Don't be too reliant on radar or all the constant stream of data that comes in, but try to have a Zen-like experience with nature, use your eyes, interact with the storm, and you can learn a lot when you're a field meteorologist, when you see all the equations out in motion, out in the atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. It's amazing how I meet so many 8-year-old kids that are already on TikTok and YouTube, already learning a lot about meteorology. So going back to that, when you were a kid interested in meteorology, did you have a vision of what your life was going to look like in the future? And how has your goals changed with your career in this field over the years?
Yeah, I didn't think too far in advance. I just knew that I wanted to storm chase and would always seize on opportunities when they would present themselves. I was making ends meet selling DVDs for many years as I was going to the University of Oklahoma. I started a website back in the day, and then when social media started in 2006, that created a lot more opportunity, and I was kind of a product of the reality TV boom that happened with Storm Chasers on Discovery Channel. So that opportunity was unique and made it possible to do our science and do even more with storm chasing as a career. But I definitely have become kind of a one day at a time guy these days, but I try to focus on the really long-term picture as well. I try to stay healthy and drink a lot of water and get a lot of sleep and everything just so I can keep storm chasing. But our goal long-term is to do a live stream of our science mission in action from the Dominator and a high-end production, kind of like live PD used to be like, where you have multiple camera angles, we have Starlink live views. And we want to live stream the data from the sensors that we launch into the tornadoes as well, so we can get a real-time tornado intensity estimate on our live stream, because those sensors are moving around with the wind in Lagrange sense. So the GPS data is equivalent to the wind speed. So we should be able to get real-time estimates of tornado intensity, three-dimensional structure, if we can pepper the tornado with dozens of sensors in real time and stream that data live through through the Dominator 3. But that's the ultimate goal, is just to launch as many sensors into the tornado as possible, the Dominators, live stream it, increase awareness for severe weather, and who knows, maybe we'll eventually be able to dissipate a tornado.
That would be nice.
The right side heat source, I guess.
Well, that's awesome. We're just so grateful to have all your research and just to have you in this field. It's just incredible all that you've done.
Well, thank you. It's great to have you guys in this field as well.
All right, Dr. Timmer, also want to talk about early on, technology was not the best, or at least not like it is today. Back then, you're basically making stuff on your own. Tell us how technology has advanced to help you do your job a lot easier today.
Yeah, technology has advanced exponentially, as we've been told. And when I started storm chasing, we had no mobile internet. I had to get a library card at all the local libraries to get internet data. But you had to use your eyes a lot in the field. We had maps, the county level maps and everything. So when GPS came out, that was a game changer for navigation. And of course, the invention of the cell phone was a big one. And now the iPhone, you basically have a mobile computer in your hand with internet, video, high-end cameras. So you can pretty much do everything with a phone now. You can navigate radar, you can forecast, you can deliver as lives, 50 yards in front of the tornado for purposes like that. And really, you can do your entire job from a phone. And internet technology has been key. Mobile internet, we have a Starlink and live view and everything. And that has been a 15 to 20 year challenge, is mobile internet out in the field. And now you're kind of doing the dance between the cellular data and the satellite-based data. But in terms of science, the miniaturization of the sensors has been key, because we can make sensors that are really tiny, attached to a parachute, and those can flow around inside of the tornado, equivalent to the wind. So we can get wind speed and thermodynamic data. But recovering those sensors is a big challenge. And one that we launched to the west of Huntsville, we're still looking for, the bright red parachute.
I have one more question. Our meteorologist Avery Gray a while back did a really big piece on social media and how fake a lot of it is. What would you tell somebody that's kind of apprehensive about where they get their tornado, hurricane information from? Because there's just a lot out there.
Yeah, there's a lot out there, and the same could be argued about any content, regardless of distribution platform, whether it's social media, a cable platform, whether it's broadcast media. I think it's important to always vet the information that you're getting. And, if you get information from a meteorologist, they're likely giving it a thought, basing it on the forecast model data. So I would definitely try to lean into those real meteorologists, like you guys in Augusta. I know that you're speaking a lot of science out there, so a very reliable source for forecast and severe weather information. But on social media, it is a little bit of the Wild West out there. And I definitely am living it firsthand. I see it all the time. There's a lot of hype casts out there as well. So I would just be careful and make sure that you have a long-term trusted source. And it usually takes years to build up that trust.
True.
All right, well, as we wrap things up, just want to go back to your tour real quick. Where can people buy tickets to come see your show on September 27th here in Augusta? And where can they follow you on social media and keep up with your storm chasing adventures?
Well, they can get it at etix.com. Just type in Dominate the Storm, Reed Timmer, and you'll find those tickets. It's coming up on September 27, a little over a month away. And we'll have the Dominator 3 out there. Nice. You can follow me on social media at Reed Timmer, rhymes with weed trimmer. And I'll also be posting the ticket links to the Augusta event coming up on September 27. And I look forward to meeting all of you there.